Hi, this is Dale from PED, the lawnmower expert here. Today we're going to compare the pros and cons between a gas push mower and a battery push mower. This will help you in the long run if you're buying a mower, deciding which one is best for your situation. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's start talking about how they're similar. They all have adjustable deck heights. They both can bag, they can mulch, they can side discharge. They're both self-propelled. That's pretty much so where the similarities end. First thing I'd like to talk about comparing the two is the maintenance and the storage aspect of them. Looking at it that way, the battery mower has a huge advantage. There is no storage procedure. It requires very little maintenance. There's no seasonal maintenance that needs to be done, no oil to be changed. There's no gas to leave in it to go bad over a period of time. Whereas compared to a gas mower, you do have all that maintenance. The oil needs to be changed regularly. You can't leave fuel in it. You always have to use fresh gas. If you're going to store it for the winter, it's got to be drained and run dry. Battery has a huge advantage when it comes to maintenance. One thing I wanted to mention about blades, the battery mower and the gas mower both have blades that need to be sharpened. They need to be removed. When it comes to sharpening blades, I always recommend you take it off and take it to some place that can do it professionally. Lawnmower shop, hardware store usually does it. Another good thing you might want to consider is buying a spare blade. And you can always have one you can rotate in. If you do hit something and dull the blade, you can always switch blades. Gas mowers have high lift blades. They do a really good job of lifting grass up and letting you cut it, giving you a nice clean cut, a nice even cut. One of the drawbacks with battery mowers is you really can't put a high lift blade with a lot of resistance on a mower because it's going to really cut down on your battery time. Another thing when choosing between a gas and electric mower is the deck material. Some are metal, some are plastic. They'll all do the same job. They'll both cut pretty close to the same. The difference though is the plastic deck, if you hit something hard, it might not survive the impact, it might crack, you might chip. The good thing about a plastic deck is they don't rust. The bad thing about a plastic deck is if you hit something hard enough, it breaks. So when we talk about the cost of maintaining and running and in the lifetime of the mowers, gas mowers, you're going to have more cost out of pocket regularly, oil, air filters, that type of thing. Whereas you won't have that with a battery mower, but when you do have to replace the battery, it's a lot more expensive. So when it comes to price, a lot of the price in a battery mower is the battery itself. The good thing is if you buy other equipment in the same brand, those batteries are interchangeable between a lot of that equipment. So you can share the batteries between other tools in your garage. You could have a snapper mower with this battery, but you could also use it in a snapper chainsaw, string trimmer, hedge trimmer, and a lot of the other equipment. And it goes the same with all the different brands. A key difference here though could be if you maintain your mower yourself or you have it done at a local shop. Local shops can charge up to $100 to do maintenance on a mower, seasonal maintenance, whereas if you do it yourself, it could cost you under $15 or $20. So that makes a big difference when you're comparing it. So second, I'd like to talk about how these mowers perform in the field. Gas mowers, they're great for taller grass. They have a lot of power to get through wet grass. Because the engine has a governor, it'll always try and keep at that same running speed and get through the grass. Battery mowers are designed to cut drier grass. You may need to cut more often with a battery mower than you would with a gas mower. I always recommend you buy a battery mower, you buy one that has two batteries. Make sure you start the cutting with both batteries charged. If you run out of battery life in one, then you can go and switch to the other. So this is brushless mower technology. This uses one 82-volt battery at a time. This particular model does come with two batteries. So this battery does have a charge gauge. All you do is push the red button. It'll tell you how much charge is left in the battery. If we're going to talk about usage times, we get a lot of questions about that. Comparing gas and battery. The gas mower is only limited by the amount of gas you have in your gas can. Once it runs out, just refill it and go back on your way. With batteries, it's a little different. Different batteries have different amp hours. Usually the smallest one's going to be 2 amp hour. Largest one could be 6, even 8 amp hour. The higher the amp hour, the longer run time you're going to get. It's always a good idea to have 2 batteries. Have both of them charged up when you start and bring the second one in if the first one runs out. A lot of the battery run time is going to depend on what you're cutting. If you're cutting a taller, thicker grass, it's going to take more power from the battery and it's going to cut down your run times. Another thing you should know if you choose a battery mower is your battery run times are going to be a lot different depending upon where you are in the country. Cutting a heavy, thick southern grass is going to run down your battery time faster than cutting thin blade northern grass in the northern part of the country. If your battery run times are shorter, that means you're going to be charging the battery more often, and battery life is determined by charging cycles. So the more often you have to charge a battery, the more charging cycles you're using up in that battery, battery, the faster that battery is going to degrade and run out of its life. Also to consider is in states like California, where they're trying to phase out gas-powered equipment, a battery mower might be the only choice that you have. So if a battery mower is your only option, pay special attention to the features. Dual batteries, self-propelled, handle wheel adjustment. That's all going to not only make your life easier, but it's going to let you get the most out of your mower. Something else to consider if you're bagging is, as these mowers pick up the grass clippings, they get heavier. Remember, if you're pushing and that bag is filling up, you have to push that mower. It gets harder and harder to push. The heavier the mower gets, the more you're going to run down your battery runtime. Another thing when choosing between a gas and electric mower, considering loudness. A gas mower is going to be much louder, whereas a battery one is much quieter. If you're in an area that has noise restrictions, you're close to your neighbors, you're on smaller lots, your only options are to cut very early in the morning or late at night, you might really want to consider a battery mower. All right, so what I'd like to do now is show you a comparison sound-wise with a decibel reading on both. I have the Honda GCV 190 on this mower, and this one is the Snapper battery mower. So I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna run it about 30 seconds. We'll get an accurate reading, and then we'll try the Snapper. Okay, both of these are 15 feet from the microphone. They're also 15 feet from the decibel meter that we're testing with. I'll go ahead and start it. So the average decibel reading on this was of 77. It kept bouncing in between 76 and 78 decibels. And Honda is relatively quiet compared to other mowers. Now we'll do the Snapper battery mower. So the decibel reading on the battery mower was between 62 and 65, which is considerably less than the 76 to 78 it was for the gas mower. 10 decibels. Anytime you get a 10 decibel difference, it's huge. Big difference to your ears, big difference to your kids' ears, big difference to your neighbors' ears. So if you're looking for something that's really quiet, a battery one's the way to go. So to wrap it up, let's talk about how we would use these. Push mowers that are battery operated are better for smaller lots, city lots. If you're able to cut the grass more often, you'd probably be very good off with a battery mower. In a lot like this that you see, with hills, it's a larger lot, lots of trees, some inclines, I would recommend going with a gas mower.